joined by Dan Sedgwick, the head coach of the McKinney North Bulldogs softball team. They finished this year in second place in District 13 4A behind undefeated district champs Lovejoy. Their only two losses in district were to Lovejoy, so a good season overall. You had in that first Lovejoy game, your starting pitcher Celeste got knocked out of the game with an injury, so really is more like the first game you're playing, down a hand to Lovejoy, and then the second game was a tight loss.
Yeah, it was, and we made a few little errors here and there, and they got some unearned runs that really hurt us in that game. But again, without those errors, I think we can compete against them. So, but I mean, those things happen.
You blasted through the rest of the district. There were several games where you had double-digit runs, a lot of shutouts as well. So on both sides of the ball, your team is playing well, both on defense, pitching, as well as hitting.
Right. Yeah, we really are, and we've cut out the quite a few of the errors that we started having around mid part of district, I guess, and a little bit after that. But we've pretty well cleaned those things up now, and the girls are playing well. And look forward to getting into the playoffs and getting started, getting rolling.
Your first baseman, Taylor McAllister, has quite a stat sheet that she's accumulated this year. She has 7 triples, 10 home runs, 51 RBIs, 6'11" batting average. What can you say?
It's hard to describe. I've never had a hitter like her. She's just an amazing hitter. They try to walk her. In fact, there's been 3 games where they walked her 4 times on purpose. One game it tied the game by walking in a run. Other times they've tried to walk her and didn't throw it far enough outside, and she bounced them off the fence, hit triples and doubles, and they better get it way off the plate for her not to hit it. And she's got an amazing ability, and Texas is going to get them a good player.
She's going to Texas, and I grew up in Mesquite, and when I grew up, the softball name around town was Amy Hooks. She also went to Texas.
Yeah.
She was also a power hitter. A lot of similarities between those two players.
Yeah, they are, and I'm looking forward to her continuing her career up there and getting to see her a lot. And guess I got to buy the Longhorn channel now. I don't know.
You might have to buy that Longhorn Network.
Yeah, she should do all right up there, and of course the pitching is going to be a lot better and all, but I think she'll do well. She's very focused and great kid.
You have several other hitters though that have also put up impressive years. Also, Allie Lindsay, Celeste Verdolivo, and Faith Dixon have all hit above 500 on the season thus far. Yep. How are they look to continue that in the playoffs, where the pitching is going to get better and the games are going to be tighter? Yeah,
they are, and they know that. Typically, when we've seen a little bit better pitching than what we have in most of our district, other than Lovejoy, they've responded well. And I think they may like the better pitching a little bit more. It's more what they're used to in travel ball and all those other things. So I think they'll respond well to the better pitching. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some really good games too. I mean, we had a lot of blowouts, and it doesn't really help you a whole lot going into the playoffs. And so, we're focused on Thursday at our place, the first playoff game, and I'm looking forward to some good competition and getting the playoffs started right and strong and good competition as long as we come out ahead.
Exactly. You have a 3-game series at Sulphur Springs that you're going to play. Thursday and Saturday games. Saturday, if necessary, will be at your place. Right. Friday, you'll have to go to Sulphur Springs. What do you expect out of their team?
Well, they've got a pretty good pitcher, and she's tied up some pretty good teams over the year. They've got 3 really good hitters, and so we got to be careful with those. But Verdolivo will keep the ball down. I mean, she's done real well keeping it down this year, and so I'm looking forward to some good competition. We got to really come out and play our game and work hard and be ready for them, because if not, they'll put one on us if we're not careful.
You have been in a district where, except for Lovejoy, and Wiley's been a good team as well, but some of the other teams in the district, they just haven't quite been up to par with your team and the Lovejoys of the like. So with necessarily that lack of competitive games throughout the district play, how do you get your team, as you were saying earlier, it might be a problem to just try to, take it to that next level when you have to in the playoffs? Because Sulphur Springs, they've been playing maybe some teams and are ready for that playoff atmosphere, and in your team they just sort of have to jump into it.
Right. They Number one, they're really looking forward to it. I mean, they're really excited about playing on Thursday, and especially at our place, they're ready to show the home crowd, a good ball game and show what they're made of, and that's a motivating factor to them. And this team doesn't want to just make the playoffs this year, and it's all on coming from them. I mean, obviously I want to go deep in the playoffs, and every coach does. But they have made it their focus to not only make the playoffs, but they want to go deep, deep, deep in the playoffs. And so they know very well that we got to take it one game at a time. And that's the way we've been doing district. And that's why I think there's been some times when we could have maybe not beat some teams as bad as we did, but around the third or fourth inning, they kind of start waking up and say, hey, wait a minute, we're not taking care of business here. And they take that among themselves, and then they come out and have a big inning. They say, hey, it's time. We got to make this thing happen. And they will, and they do. And so I think they'll be up for it. I think they'll be ready and excited.
Playoff seeding is sort of a crazy thing because even if you're the district champs, that only really helps you for one round. After that, it's really just, a free-for-all. You never know how the seeds are going to work out.
Well, isn't that the truth? Yeah.
You've got a decent road when you look at the teams. You avoid Ennis, which is one of the top 4A teams there. You won't have to play them until the regional final. They're with Lovejoy in that other section of the playoffs. Then one of the teams that's kind of lurking in your area that you could potentially play is Hallsville. They're ranked number 4 in the state. So, but overall, what are your feelings on some of the teams in that playoff bracket?
Well, number one, we gotta take care of Sulphur Springs, and they're, like I said earlier, going to give us all we want, and so we got to focus on them first. But and then after that, I don't know a ton about those teams, but some of them are ranked in the state. I know they've got good pitching, and it's going to be a tough road too. Again, on that other bracket, I know those teams, and I've seen them play, and I know how good they are, and it's kind of makes me real nervous over here because I haven't seen these teams play much, and but they've got good records, and they're ranked, so we're going to have to stay focused and work hard.
Talk a little bit about, as a coach, how you deal with the situation of not necessarily in the playoffs playing a lot of area teams that you are super familiar with, but not only teams that you're not familiar with, but that are going to be a travel distance to go to their place. You're going to have to travel a good ways to go to Sulphur Springs coming up, and there's a lot of teams in that section that it's going to be some trips to go even to a neutral site if you have to play there.
Yeah, it will. Again, this year though, going to Greenville, Sulphur Springs is about 20 minutes past Greenville, and so that kind of helps. Royce City, going over there, Greenville. Those are a little bit of a trip, and we probably wouldn't have to go too much further, maybe to Tyler at the farthest. But the teams that are the upper echelon teams over there, now Texas High, is in it, and so if we end up meeting them somewhere on, that'd probably be a Tyler kind of thing and have to go to Tyler. But our girls travel pretty well. We have a routine that we go through. I'm big on routines. Routine when you're coming up to the plate, routine in practice, routines, and get used to those routines. We have a routine in traveling too, and we stick to that routine. We eat at the same place. We go to the, we get there a certain amount of time early. The girls are able to relax a little bit before we even get off the bus, and so, I try to overcome those things by having routines and sticking to those routines, and players get comfortable with those and they get confident in sticking to our routines. So.
And last thing I wanted to go over is obviously the seniors that won't be coming back for next year's team. You have Taylor McAllister, as we mentioned earlier, also Faith Dixon, your catcher, and Chandler Johnson. They're both seniors, and the latter two, Faith and Chandler, they're both going to Murray State to continue their softball careers.
Yes, they are, and they should do fine there also. And they made that their goal when they were freshmen. All three of those girls have been four-year lettermen for me, and have given of themselves. They've been leaders. They've been to, I can't think, maybe on one hand, maybe any practice, the number of practices all three of them put together have missed. I mean, they're constantly there, on time, ready to go, motivating, and that started when they were freshmen. They've been like that for 4 years, and we'll miss them, but I know that they're going to do well at the next level, and it'll be hard saying goodbye to those three.
Oh, yeah. And the Racers are getting 2 quality players, and the Longhorns getting 1 quality player as well. And next year's team, you're still very young. You're still going to have a lot of talent returning to hopefully not only make a deep run this year in the playoffs, but next year as well.
Yeah, and you know, again, Bertoleva will have another year under her belt, and a picture of her quality and her talent. I've never seen one get worse. I've only seen them get better through the travel club or travel ball season. And she came back better this year, and I know she'll come back even better than she was this year after the summer ball. And so, yeah, we got a young team, and we've got a couple of young players coming in that I know of that are going to be good ball players too, and be able to fill some of the slots that these girls are going to vacate for us. So,
well, Coach Sedgwick,
I'm excited.
Thanks so much for joining us
Hey,
today.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Good luck
as
to you in the
always.
playoffs.
Thank you very much.
McKinney North Bulldogs, they'll be taking on Sulphur Springs. It's a best of 3 series. That first game going to be Thursday night right here in McKinney. This week's Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week is Taylor McAllister from McKinney North High School. Taylor, a senior, plays first base for the Bulldogs and has lettered all 4 seasons. Taylor has received several accolades throughout her softball career, including being a first-team All-District selection each season, Offensive Player of the District last season, and is likely to win many more awards for this season. Taylor also holds the school record in both RBIs and home runs. She will continue her softball career at the University of Texas and is planning on majoring in kinesiology. That's Taylor McAllister from McKinney North High School, our Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week. That concludes another excellent episode of Sports Talk. Thanks again to the coaches for coming by on today's show. Next week, we will recap the boys' baseball regular season performances and also preview a couple of schools' playoff roads ahead of them. Until then, from all of us here at Sports Talk, I'm Tyler Sloan. Have a great week.